top 5 MVP candidates to this point.
For the NBA. Yes, JB, put it on up. Because there's a certain person that is on it. I will just say that. At number 1, I've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, which I think this one is pretty obvious at this point. The Thunder have the best record in the NBA. They are 8.5 games clear of Memphis. Shai's leading the NBA in scoring, 53, 36, 90 splits, averaging 33 a game. While the Thunder have been playing almost the entire season without Chet Holmgren, who I think when healthy is their second best player. Chet has only played 12 games. What the Thunder are doing, what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is doing, you can't deny that. He's the obvious number 1 to me. At number 2, this would win MVPs in a lot of years. It's Nikola Jokic. He's one of the most efficient players who has ever played the game, has won multiple MVPs, as we know, and he's putting up numbers which are, in a lot of ways, better than he's put up before. Averaging a triple-double, giving you 30, 13, and 10 averages, while his shooting splits 58 from the floor, a ridiculous 45% from 3 for Nikola freaking Jokic, and an 82% from the free throw line. The Nuggets are closing in on that 2 seed in the West, are only a half a game back of the Memphis Grizzlies. This is what you really wanted, though. At number 3, Cade Parker Cunningham. Yes, I invoked the middle name. As we all know, we know the numbers. 25, 6, and 9. 46, 35, 85 shooting splits. 3rd in the entire bleeping NBA in assists. But with this one, this is more about what he has done to help propel the turnaround from 14 wins last year, the whole season, to 29 and 26 at the freaking All-Star break this year. Cade Cunningham has proved to be that force multiplier that has made others around him, like a Malik Beasley, like a Jalen Duren, like an Asar Thompson, better as the season goes on. And you also have to give credit to Cade for the amount of games that some of his other best players have missed. Asar missed the first 22, Ivy has missed the last 25, and the Pistons are, no matter who that they were missing, were treading water without Asar and have been winning big without Jaden Ivey. Number 4, I got Jason Tatum, which might seem a little controversial. I still think Jason Tatum's the better player, but he's putting up a typical Tatum stat line. He's one of the best players in the NBA. He led the Celtics to a championship last year. It's just, to me, the Boston Celtics are the best roster in the NBA, still the best team in the NBA, and the Celtics are the 2 seed far behind the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think if you wanted to give it to Tatum, he had to put up better numbers than he has in the past, and the Celtics would have to be the clear 1 seed. And at number 5, I got Giannis Antetokounmpo. And Giannis, he's putting up huge numbers.
It's ridiculous.
31, 12, and 6 on 61% from the floor. However, the Bucks have kind of disappointed, and it's not Giannis's fault. Like Chris Middleton has declined. Now he's traded, but he missed a lot of games. You look at Dame's missed some games. Even Giannis himself, which is also a bit of a disqualifier. Giannis has missed 12. And at some point, you got to play. And I think he will play. I think he will end up finishing with like 60, 65 games. But the fact that the Bucks are only 1 game clear of the Pistons, I think you got to knock Giannis in terms of the MVP. Do I think he's still the best player in the East? Absolutely. But this is about most valuable player. So this is my list. Cade to me is number 3 and the number 1 candidate to me in the East.
Let's rock. And you know what? I got a lot of similarities with my list. One, the Flannel Sam. But I respect the list that you got going on there.
Question, though, because I figured you would have Cade in there, but him in at number 3, I didn't expect you to go that high on him in the MVP.
I mean, I get it, because Tatum and Giannis are still the kings of the East right now. It's just, to me, with Tatum, I think he's got the best roster around him, and the Celtics don't even have the 1 seed. And with Giannis, it's about him missing games, and it's about the Bucks being a bit disappointing. They're not in danger of the play-in because nobody really above the 6 seed is, but the Bucks, they need to improve that record, I think, for Giannis to be a viable MVP candidate. And Giannis has to get back on the floor because now, what does it require you? 66 games? He's in jeopardy of not getting that.
I would agree.
Yeah, no, I like the list, man. I like the list. No love for any of the Knicks players?
See, if there was a just missed it, you'd have like a Jalen Brunson or an Anthony Edwards or I'm trying to think of anybody obvious that I'm missing.
I mean,
Donovan Mitchell.
Carl Anthony, I was waiting on your
Towns,
boy,
yeah.
Cat.
Hey, speaking of Cat,
You know what?
You know that's your boy, man.
Let's-
he is.
Let's pull up that list. Let's pull up my list, man.
Your list, the one that you did not follow the assignment on properly.
No, but I like how he framed it. It's okay.
Hey, look, man. I wanted to be able to break it down
The
this
ghetto
way
list.
for you guys, man. This is what I wanted to do for you guys because we had to break it down. There's conversation to be said, and Flannel, he definitely discussed a lot of it. What you see out of those first three, and this is why I have Cade Cunningham number 3, is these are the guys that are doing it all. If you go and you look across the board as it relates to the stats with the Denver Nuggets, do you know that Nikola Jokic is leading them in basically everything? Points, rebounds, assists,
Yep.
steals, everything. When you look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's leading them in points and assists and steals, and these guys are pulling a weight for their teams greater than I believe any of these other players in the league are doing. Cade Cunningham is doing the same, but you know what Cade Cunningham doesn't have that all these other players on this list are going to have? Cade Cunningham doesn't have any all-star help on this squad right now.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Period. So all of the success that we see him having, and he's just a game behind Giannis and the Bucks. Mind you, Giannis and Dame are both all-stars.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So the aspect of the disappointment, that's why I put Cade Cunningham up there at number 3. And this also is a little bit of futures. I am expecting that with the trajectory that the Pistons are on, we see them get into that 5th seed. We see them make a charge for the 4th, even if they fall just short. That would be enough for me to have Cade Cunningham in that top 5 MVP conversation. But just the way that I value things, I have these top 3 kind of that way. And then the next 2, Giannis and Jalen Brunson, I had to pay some homage to the fact that their situations around them changed a lot in terms of what they've been used to. Hey, we're enjoying the fruits of Mr. Malik Beasley right now.
Yep.
So certain things have changed, but he still stayed consistent. He's still one of the big reasons why he and Jalen Brunson, why their teams are winning. And I know that he got some help down there in New York with Cat, but those guys, no matter kind of what you put around them over the last few years, they've continued to be obviously the straw that stirs the drink. They are the alphas. And that's why I had Jalen Brunson over Karl Anthony Towns. I know what Karl is doing to put up the stats, but that's never been a reason why, in my opinion, why his teams have taken the next leap. The teams when he's had success is when they've had other dogs on the team and when the defense around him has been just that much better. And that's just on me. With Jason Tatum, I had to pay some homage, and that's kind of my next 2 out. So I got my top 5 and then my next 2 just so people can see it. That's the West Mantooth tier. That's the I hate these players, but you got to kind of, darn it, I respect you, from the Anchorman Classic. But that is my top 5 plus my next 2 out.
I don't hate it. I like seeing some love for Karl Anthony Towns. You gave more love to Karl Anthony Towns than
And
I
I
would
don't
have.
like Karl Anthony Towns.
I know,
You guys
it's
that.
crazy.
and I actually do. I'm the only one
surprised.
probably in the state of Michigan that likes Karl Anthony Towns. So I'm glad he's getting some love. He's playing well. He's playing the best ball of his life in New York. He is.
It's like when you look at the East as a whole is where some of the names narrative-wise, you just got to penalize them this year, especially with the rise that the Pistons are having. How do you look at a Cade Cunningham and as the only all-star on his team and one of 2 players in the entire NBA averaging 25 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds. It's just him and Nikola Jokic. One of only 8 players all time to have the stat line that he has right now. All time. There's only been 21 or 22 other instances all time. All these other guys have been all-star. All these other guys have been all-NBA. All those other guys get MVP conversation. So if that's what the stats say, if that's what the facts say, if that's what the history say, if that's what the narrative says, well, Cade Cunningham is passing this thing with flying colors, and you should put some respect on this guy's name. Nobody really had them at this type of a pace. And he has no other all-star help. He's dealing with inconsistencies. You talked about the injuries and such to Jaden Ivey, the inconsistencies with the lineup. Asar Thompson didn't even play the first 20 games of the season. Those things, but Cade Cunningham has been that star the entire year. We saw after the first week of the season, he different this year. Yeah. And I got to give him his props, man.
Kool-Aid, I loved how you break this down, but this was a top 5 list and you gave us 7 names.
Yes, sir.
It's a top 5 and
I
then
love how you broke it down.
Hey.
And the Jalen Brunson is a little bit of a point of contention for me, but just because I think Karl Anthony Towns is the real reason for the Knicks' success. Not taking anything away from him.
I believe you take Brunson off that team, and just put like a B player on there.
I don't know.
I don't think Carl Anthony is going to have the success
True,
that I've
but-
seen Brunson have with some B players around him.
They ain't really had that success until Cat got there, though. I mean, they were good. Don't get me wrong, but now they are like championship good with him being on the team. Now I do need to see it in the playoffs, but we'll go over more
Soft
of
cat.
that with my list. You can go ahead and throw my list up, JB.
Hell yeah.
And this cracked out list is crazy, bro. But anyway, my boy JB over here making only the best graphics. So shout out to JB. We really
Shout out
appreciate
JB
you.
Smooth.
But here is my top 5 MVP list. And listen, y'all, I do understand there is no Cade. I have him at 6. 5 was really hard for me because there was a lot of deserving people in that spot. I got Cade just outside of that, but this, like Stephen A's list, the list is fluid. It can change. It can change. But at number 1, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and I think that's the most obvious choice right now. The man is averaging 32 points a game on 52% from field goal range, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Number 1 team in the West. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory what SGA is doing right now. At 2, Nikola Jokic, and just because he's just a constant force, man. The numbers he puts up year in and year out, you're looking at almost 30 points a game, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. The man is averaging a triple-double on 57% from the field. That's pretty self-explanatory right there as well. And at number 3, I have Karl Anthony Towns. And like I said, I think that Cat has done a lot for the Knicks this year. He's been the go-to guy in most situations. I do understand he hasn't played all the games, and Jalen Brunson is there. He does a great job. But I think just in terms of this year, Cat is the player that really stirs the drink for them, and the numbers back him up. I mean, 24, almost 25 a game, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 53%. We all know he shoots a decent percentage from 3 as well. So at number 4, Jason Tatum. And this is where it kind of started to get hard because I really wanted to put Cade in this mix, but I think in terms of the MVP, they really value team success just historically. So with the Celtics being number 1 in the East with Jason Tatum, and also with a lot of people on this list, they lead their team in a lot of the major categories as well. So I took that into account. Jason Tatum is leading the Celtics in damn near all the major categories. They're number 1 in the East, and he is the main player behind that. So although they do have a great team. And at number 5, Giannis Antetokounmpo, because I do understand the team success is not there, but his numbers are just ridiculous, too ridiculous to ignore. Now he hasn't played all the games. I do acknowledge that. But
They would tell, okay, all those stats, you're not affecting winning.
No, and Cade is affecting winning, which is why this 5 spot was a little bit hard because I had him, I had Giannis, and I had Donovan Mitchell, who I think deserves some praise for the MVP. I had him in the mix. Now, Donovan Mitchell, his numbers don't compare to Cade's and Giannis's, but you got to look at the team success, and he has been the main driver behind that. I do understand they have a team. I understand Evan Mobley.
7-footers in that
but
front
I
court,
get that. But Evan Mobley, only 19 points a game. I do
3 all-stars on that Cavs team.
I'm not denying that at all. I'm not denying that at all. But like I said, Giannis, just in terms of numbers and where their team sits right now, I think you got to put him in the conversation just because of the numbers. I got Cade at 6, right past Giannis. And he could honestly surpass Giannis. He could.
Yeah.
And 6.
You know what? I mean, I respect everybody's. I respect it. I respect the love for Karl Anthony Towns. So
if the Pistons were higher than 6 right now, I would put Cade in the top 5.
I gotta respect it. And that's part of me was saying that my list is part of futures where I think they're going to land, where I believe they're going to be the 5th seed. They're going to make a strong case for the 4th, but I do believe that they're a team that their ceiling is 6, but I believe go out there and snatch that 5th seed.
No, absolutely.
Especially with what we're seeing right now. Like when I do look at Karl Anthony Towns, I mean, he was putting up stats like this in the beginning, and then when you started adding dogs to a squad like Jimmy Butler, and then you get AE, and then you add even a Gobert, who many people didn't really expect much of, but that's when I saw him go to the next level, and that's where I probably will always see him like that until he just goes out there and proves that he is that dog. And with Giannis, I get you, man. Jason Tatum, though, man, you talk about the team around him is what I don't.
Get it.
Sometimes that's good. At least in my eyes, that hurts. But you're
But
right.
when you the number one team
You're
on
right.
the East and you are the main star player, you
Yeah,
got to
you're
give
right.
it to him. He putting up the numbers.
But here's the thing, KG, and this is where I strongly disagree with you on one of your Jason Tatum points. They're the 2 seed.
Yeah.
They're not the 1 seed. They are the 2 seed. They should be the 1 seed. And if they were the 1 seed, I probably would put Jason Tatum over Cade Cunningham. It's the fact that Boston came in as the favorite to repeat.
Facts.
And this is about the MVP. Jason Tatum is phenomenal. I think he shut a lot of people up last year. Even you could argue about his finals performance, whatever. He shut a lot of people up. But as terms of MVP of this year, I've got Cade over Tatum just because of what he has to overcome, what he has around him, and what they've done relative to expectations. But I'm not mad at Tatum over Cade. I just would put Cade somewhere on this list. I would take Karl Anthony Towns out. I'm the cat guy.
And I think that's fair. I think that's definitely fair. Cade really has an arguable case against Jason Tatum, like a very arguable case.
How did you put Karl Anthony Towns?
He was so non-existent
I've
in that
argued
last
with
game.
you about Karl Anthony
I
Towns.
understand, but just what he's done to this point this year, you got to give him some credit, bro.
I gave him credit. He was in my West man tooth tier.
Yeah.
I had to, look,
You
gosh, do I
had
hate
Brunson
you.
above him,
For
though.
goodness,
and-
I respect you.
But
It is what it
you
is.
had Brunson above him,
'Cause
and I
it's
think if
his
you talking
team.
New
He's the
York Knicks,
dog.
I get that. But if we talking Knicks and the success in this year,
Nah,
Cat
bro.
is a big contributor to that.
So is Brunson. And if you take Brunson's dog away from this team, I believe you see Cat of Minnesota days before you started loading that team up with other dogs
True,
like
but
Jimmy Butler and AE.
the Knicks didn't look as formidable without Cat either.
Drummond smacked Karl Anthony Towns in their first 8 games in their career, and they're in 2 separate conferences, so that spans 4 seasons,
I
bro.
understand.
And they were trash with Karl Anthony Towns as their guy. That's
Like I
all I'm
said,
saying.
it's-
Like, until he got dogs on there,
These are fair arguments. That's just how I got it right now.
I feel you.
These are fair arguments. I'm not
I
gonna
feel
sit
you.
up here and argue to you
That-
to death. You're not wrong. But
Who would you pick in
I'm
a
not
playoff
putting
series?
Jalen Brunson
Who
over
would you
Cat
pick in
in
a
terms of
playoff
Knicks.
series? Who would you pick in a playoff series?
Of course I would pick the
or Knicks?
Pistons. Of course I would pick the Pistons.
That's my case.
But Cat would probably ball out that series. I just
But
think
he
we would
always
win.
balls out. It
I just think we would win.
He's been the master over the start of his career before they loaded him with help of being that guy that cannot get it done without all-star help around him.
I
Cade has proven
understand that,
he can be
but
that
this
guy.
is a individual award, and if we look at the
Exactly.
stat, he got all the numbers.
Cade got all the
Points,
numbers and more.
rebounds, his 3-point percentage as a big man. I mean,
He's
like
always
I said,
been a merchant of that, man. It hasn't led
We've
to the
seen
wins
what the
unless he
Knicks
got a
have
dog.
looked like without Cat, and it hasn't been all that great either. I do understand the Jalen Brunson point. I'm not putting Brunson over Cat if we talking Knicks.
I respect.
I'd put Brunson over Cat, and I'm the Cat guy. Karl Anthony Towns, and this is true of a lot of big men. So this isn't even a discredit to him.
Yeah.
He needs to be fed. If he doesn't have somebody who can feed him the ball and can run the offense, he's gonna be empty stat guy. But that's the thing. That's such his life as a big man in a lot of ways, because it was the same way for the most part with a guy like Anthony Davis, even though they had a bit of a run when Drew Holiday got there.
that.
But you need somebody to feed you. And Jalen Brunson, he's been top 3-point guard in the East this year. I mean, no question. Him,
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell, and Cade.
Yeah, and you know what? I see Broder too, because these are 2 players, man, that I sat back there and I was looking like, goodness, I really want to give them some props. John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies. And Broder was asking how far out of our top 5 do we have a guy like a John Morant?
Far. You can't even see John Morant.
No,
With all due
Jaren
respect.
Jackson is really
Yes.
the
I
one
like
carrying
Jaren
that
Jackson,
team
yeah.
this year, just in terms of this year.
John Morant's missed over 20 games and
Yeah.
is putting up pedestrian numbers compared to what you expect from him. He's
Yeah.
still a damn good player,
good,
but both
yeah.
of those things are true.
I was gonna say I have Jaren Jackson, maybe
Yeah, I
within
would
my
put him
overall
above
top 10,
John.
maybe at even like a 9 or a 10.
JJ at top 10.
I've wanted Jaren Jackson in a Piston uniform for years. That's been my #1 Piston. Every year on Woodward Pistons, I make that claim at the start of off season. That's I don't care how you have to do it. Like, I know that we joke around sometimes with like the Devin Booker stuff, and I'm being very serious with that too. Come home, Devin Booker. But why can't Jaren Jackson Jr. come home? Just come to Michigan, brother.
Bring him home, man.
Come on. Just come on, man. But
Yeah,
where
yeah.
do you guys see them right now? Because that's kind of my case with John Morant as well. It's the games that he missed to start the season, and they more than traded water because Jaren Jackson Jr. was a freak.
No, Jaren Jackson Jr. is phenomenal. He would be higher up on the MVP list than a Ja Morant. I just think with Ja, as I said, he's missed too many games, and when you look at MVP, and this is my case against Donovan Mitchell as well, even though Donovan Mitchell playing within that team, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Every single MVP, I think, since maybe 2015 Steph has put up monster numbers, whether it's Steph, whether it's Nikola Jokic, whether it's James Harden, have put up numbers that have popped off the screen. And Donovan Mitchell doesn't have that. Are there a lot of players in the NBA who are more valuable than Donovan Mitchell in a vacuum? No, but this is the most valuable player, and things like that matter.
JB, I see what you did with the little triple threat on number 3. I like that. That's a nice touch. But
messed up number 3.
Like I said, the list is fluid. 4 and 5 were really difficult for me because I was really trying to put Cade in there, but just because of where the Pistons are at this moment, I just can't put them in the top 5 just yet.
Do I expect the NBA ballots to look like this at the end of the season? 100%.
And then I was just trying to go off what I thought was realistic.
Oh no, 100%. Yeah. I expect it
y'all
to be
know
like
I want to. Y'all know I'm hometown hero, bro. I want to put Cade in there.
Skydog 722 said Kool-Aid is pissed with KG for leaving his boy.
Skydog's a clown. Skydog's a clown. Skydog's an Ivy, bro. Skydog's a bitch. Skydog wants Cade Cunningham traded to this day. Skydog wants Cade Cunningham traded right now.
Damn.
Because he's a dumbass.
Damn, I ain't know about listening to this type of reaction. And listen, Skydog, I ain't gonna go that deep, but
I will go that deep.
I have seen the rest of y'all though talk about I'm a Cade hater. Let's not do that though. Y'all gonna do that to me? Y'all gonna do that to me? Yeah, come on, dog. Me?
Don't let him catch you lacking, yo. Look, I was just about to follow up that last one with this from G Clark. Wait until Jaden Ivey 23 comes back, man. I was just about to read that before he started saying, Ivy, bro. Goodness gracious.
And I cannot stress this enough. I like Jaden Ivey. I disagree with Easy that this team is better without him. It's if you're a Pistons fan right now and you are diminishing Cade to prop up Ivy, I think that's clinical insanity. You can prop them up both, but you certainly can't prop up Ivy to diminish Cade.
I'm looking forward to them both. Like, I don't think people understand. Like, Tim Hardaway is in there right now. Do you know how much, and I love what he's doing. I'm not taking away anything from Tim Hardaway. But Jaden Ivey was putting up some efficient stats. Yes. He was scoring the ball well. He was very clutch down the end of games. And he was a perfect compliment to Cade because he wants Cade to be that guy. Even though Jaden Ivey was drafted top 5, Jaden Ivey, people were wondering, could he go 4? Could he go 3? Jaden Ivey was a guy that people were wondering about, could he lead a team? And for him to be able to come here and say, you know what? We know what Cade is. I'm here to just effectively help and do whatever this team wants me to do. It's just like, man, I want to see them both out there. Yeah. I look at it as like an extended backcourt of Cade, Ivy, and Asar. Yes. That is ignorant behavior that we're talking about. Yeah. That's what, and then think about it, because if that works, all you're looking for is your 4 of the future. They got cap space and capital and draft capital in the future to be able to focus in on this one particular spot. Because Tim Hardaway going to the bench with a Malik Beasley, with the Dennis Schroeder, with Isaiah Stewart and Paul Reed and Sasser and Simone, you got a pretty nice squad at that point.
Well, not you, Simone. I'm about done. But anywho,
he can play a little more gritty. Got to get the offense going though.
But when you really, that was the thing. When you really break down the bench, it's like, it's no longer I'm Malik Beasley and this is the bench. The bench is actually going to be pretty formidable, I think, moving forward. But how about we take a
see what JB Smooth does when he has Steph Curry number 1.
Right.
I got you. All right, so at number 1, Steph Curry, everybody. Steph Curry. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, you guys. I do find it funny that, like, majority of our lists were kind of the same.
Yeah.
I gave Cade some love. I put him at number 5. Look, I'm telling you guys, Motorcade is real. You can't change my mind about that. This man has been arguably a top 5 player this entire season, especially starting in 2025. He's healthy. He's showing his all-around skill that he's been working on this whole offseason, despite having Jaden Ivey down sideline. He's still running with this opportunity that he has right now. He knows the goal. He knows the objective of this season, and he's just running with it as it is. The only reason why I have him at 5 is just because of the other players ahead of him. And honestly, the numbers could go up. He could move into that 3-4 spot. I'm just waiting for, these guys to kind of slip and stumble a little bit, but I don't know if that will happen. At number 4, give me Giannis. This is another one where like I'm just hoping that he stumbles a little bit, but it's still probably unlikely to happen.
That is not happening.
He's had some injuries this season, but when he's healthy, this man is nearly a 30-point double-double and can show some defense as well too. So he's at 4 for me. Number 3, Jason Tatum. This, you guys have already said it before. This man is a facilitator, and he's literally flexing his leadership this season as well too, with solid performances in and night out.
Yeah.
I mean, 3, I don't think that's a bad spot for him as well too. The Cavs are still on fire at number 1, but it all comes down to who has the hotter hand the second half this NBA season. So don't be surprised if Tatum kind of slides up in that number 2 spot. Number 2, I got the Joker. This man has kind of been running up impressive numbers with inferior opponents that he's going up against. If I'm being honest, I mean, he's averaging a 31-point triple-double in the month of February as it is.
Joker
which is,
do that though. Like, this is his reputation now.
Like, this is just unreal. I don't see him slipping at all. So 2 is probably a lock for me. And everyone had this at number 1, SGA. I mean, the man has 3 50-point games. Like, come on. Like, I can't not put him at number 1. It's a masterclass season for him so far. And over the past 10 games, KJ, you already put it out there. 38.4 points, 6.4 assists, 4.3 rebounds, 1.7 steals. He's shooting at 58%. I mean, I don't expect this man to slow down at all either. So that's my top 5 list. SGA, Joker, Jason Tatum, Giannis, and showing some love with Cade at number 5.
That's a great list with no cat on there.
No, I wasn't about to put Cat on there. Oh,
no cat.
No Brunson either.
No
Brunson either. So
I was not about to put Cat on there, but I will say this: I do have Donovan Mitchell outside at number 6. So,
all right,
just
no
saying.
Brunson yet again, but
I know that's definitely a good list.
No,
that's definitely a good list.
Yeah.
This was almost my list. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Except one of you guys actually likes Cade. Kidding!
Kidding! Once again, you gonna do that to me of all people?
I'm kidding.
Y'all gonna do this to me?
You're right.
No, but JB, I understand what you're doing because it's hard because Cade he doesn't have the numbers that Giannis does certainly, or even Jason Tatum, and obviously we know what Giannis and Jason Tatum they've accomplished a heck of a lot more than Cade in this league. I just think Cade with what he has to work with, what he's done relative to expectations. That's why I put him over those guys, although I'm not mad at you. I'm a little mad at Karl-Anthony Towns at 3. There's a difference between like disagreeing slightly but not being mad and being a little bit mad.
Yeah, with me, I do firmly believe that Cade Cunningham deserves that talk. We understand that though he might not be putting up certain scoring numbers as like a Giannis, we do know that the stat line he does have, and to include as it relates to across the stat sheet, there's only 2 players in the entire league who are doing that. And Nikola Jokic is going to get credit in this MVP race for doing that and having success with his team. Whereas Cade literally does not have the same amount of help, and he is pulling this Pistons team into the same stratosphere as the Giannis-led Bucks, who also has Dame Lillard on there. That's where I'm hoping that when these conversations are had, people aren't just like, oh, yeah, sure, the Pistons are having mild success, whatever. Hey, because you know what people instantly going to say? They point to things like, well, look at Asar, look at Durant, look at Beasley. It's like, well, look at those guys. I'm grateful for the seasons that they are having.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
No, it's not the same, especially when you can freeze frame any defense. Look at what any clip. Look at what happens when Cade Cunningham hits the middle of that floor. Look at what happens when Cade Cunningham hits the middle of that floor.
Collapse.
It's an absolute collapse. The fact that he can score what he can score is just like, that's amazing. And he doesn't have one of those other guys where you have to go and make sure to double team. Do you have to stay honest and play Beasley man-to-man? Yes. But you're not stepping to the table like, oh, snap, Dame Lillard on one side, Giannis on the other side. We got a double team in the post with Karl-Anthony Towns. We got to try and make sure we're hedging and double teaming out on the perimeter with a Jalen Brunson. That's not happening here. Cade is getting all of the attention on defense, and that's what helps him set up to be able to facilitate. You look at his seasons prior, and Cade was missing out on a lot of what you call potential assists that he's actually hitting on this season. His potential assists, or the missed assists effectively, that percentage has gone down because the people around him are actually just hitting the shots based off of what? A lot of the gravity and a lot of the space that his play is creating. And so now we can say that their success and his stats, his facilitation, his style of play that is helping the Pistons not just win, but burst through expectations. And now they're in a place where when you look at the standings, they're in a top 6 spot. Their highest, if their season ended today, that's the highest position, playoff position they would have had in over a decade. That to me is what's crazy. And when you look at the stats, it's not like he's having marginal stats. I love Chauncey Billups. It's not even like he's having those types of stats. You're 16 points, 6 assists, but you know that he can go off at 30. No, he's actually going out there and putting up 25, 26 a game. And largely, it feels like he put up the 16. Like, he put up 29 points last night. Yeah. And it's not as if people are like, yo, man, Cade Cunningham showed out. Some people said, oh, man, he went 2 of 7 from beyond arc. Put up 29 points.
29.
Like, it just, the effect that he's having on these Detroit Pistons winning, I don't want to understate, the other players or JB Bickerstaff, but, as it relates to the players that get the credit for these types of rises, I think Cade Cunningham is that dude, and it's long overdue. They've robbed him of previous awards. And I think with this one, it's just about having him in the conversation. Yeah. I believe he's worth it.
No, absolutely. And I can almost guarantee that if the Pistons get to a 5 or dare I say 4 seed, you will have no choice but to put Cade in that top 5, maybe even top 3.
Yeah. Hey, I already got him in the top 3. But no, the consensus, he will be higher up on everybody's list if he gets it. If the Pistons finish the season with home court in the first round, I think that would really open a lot of people's eyes. And for the record, I think people's eyes have been opened on Cade. It's just it's the reason why I think I still get a little bit upset and a little bit victory lappy, even over guys like Stick, who has come around to his credit, is that most of us had the foresight. Most of us understood what we were watching and just realized he was hindered by his teammates and his teammates. Obviously, he had one like injury that was a cleanup from something he suffered in high school, and coaching. But there are people who literally would tell me that it was yes. People will legitimately would tell you that Cade's just not a winning player. If he's so good, why don't they win more?
Right.
Why did they win 14 games?
People was telling him to rise above all those things.
Rise above everything.
Look, man,
what?
Bro, before the people knew I got fired up on the show, like, you guys have seen some of the conversations between me and Stick off air. And he knew how to push that button with Cade. And there's only so much you can say until the wins are there, and that's fair. That's why I'm glad that Cade was the one who stepped to the podium and said, it's just not good enough.
Yeah.
We're bad, and we got to be real about that. And then this year, some of the things that I noticed out of these young players is this. I was like, all these guys look like they've been in the weight room, like all of them.
Yeah.
And the other people were being able to call it out as well. We posted pictures, and you see people like, yo, Jaden Ivey looks like he's ready to go to work. People were like, yo, Cade Cunningham looks like he's been putting in the work. And as soon as we saw him doing more back-to-the-basket stuff to start the season, as soon as we saw him finishing through contact, and he's still going to complain for the foul, but he doesn't necessarily need that to do what he's doing this year.
Yeah.
That's when you realize they've been putting in the work themselves. Even Ron Holland, we've talked about that too. So it's like, and I see you, Weezy D313. He said, was Cade the only one that suffered, or did Killer and Ivy suffer from playing with bums like Burks and Boyan and Joe Harris?
Come on, man.
I have been consistent with this. And I've been saying, one of the people who I think this new spacing and having these guys, I said this in offseason, I said Jaden Ivey was going to be one of the people, maybe more so than Cade, who could benefit from this. Cade had an opportunity to go out there and still get his. He put up in the first season as a rookie numbers that only Michael Jordan did. It's amazing how every year he's only putting up stats of legends, and people are still slow to the conversation on Cade Cunningham. But no, these other players, they definitely suffer from the lack of having vets and people to show them how it's done, and coaching to be the glue to pull it all together. They all suffered. And you saw this year how much better Jaden Ivey was to start the season based on the work he put in, JB Bickerstaff, but also having way better teammates and the young guys who they're actually able to take these steps forward now.
And Weezy, please stop pushing this Killian point. Dog, come on, bro. This us. This just me and you talking, bro. Why are you he's not in the NBA, bro. Why are we continuing to push this Killian agenda? I don't understand.
And for the record, when we were just talking about players that could be a secondary ball handler, I flirted with the idea of Killian maybe wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but like, Weezy is in a category that you don't want to be. You don't want to be a Killian, bro. If he was back in the NBA and he was given another shot and he was seeing some success, I could see you having a leg to stand on. He's still in the G League. Should he be in the G League? I don't know. they don't usually keep people in the G League that should be in the NBA. That's all I'll say.
Where is he at right now? Is he still in the Nets or is
Long
he with
Island Nets? Him and Drew Timme have just been kind of going off together.
Drew
I don't
Timme.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
Fascinating.
agents can have a role to play in that too, and I just wonder if, I don't know, man, you would want to be in the NBA, but I know that Killian and some of the stuff he's put out there content wise, it's as if he's learning there, and that would make a lot of sense because he didn't really have a lot of that to do here. Dwayne Casey was a lame duck coach. You got to think about that. Like
Yeah,
they
that's
knew,
true.
like
Yeah.
he's not. And then you followed it up with Monty, who put so much usage and pressure like on Killian well beyond what anybody else expected.
Right.
And then you don't get a chance under JB. I would happen to believe that he would have a little bit more success with a JB Bickerstaff, the defensive-minded JB Bickerstaff, the facilitating one, because we're seeing players right now who we're waiting for them to get to those points to shoot the three-point ball.
Yeah.
But they're still having success in this system that JB Bickerstaff has set up.
Yep, and to be fair to Weezy, he also said I'm a Cade Slappy and an Ivy bro, and you have proven over your time in the chat that I agree. And he also said something
He's
yesterday.
a Cade Crusader.
He is, and he said something yesterday that caught my eye, and I didn't get a chance to read it because, you know, I came up with the whole Ivy bro thing, which I kind of wish I wouldn't have done now, but they keep popping up, even though I like Ivy. He actually said yesterday that he likes LeBron and Kobe. So if that kind of takes you into the mind of Weezy, maybe he just appreciates game because not a lot of people like LeBron and Kobe.
Especially as a Lakers
respect
fan.
Even though you
Lakers
should.
fans hate
But I
LeBron.
was meant to appreciate LeBron James.
That's the thing, though. We all should, but even me, I respect Kobe, but I've heard too many conversations about where he ranks that I don't agree with for me to just love
2006
him.
is forever
you know?
scarred into my head, okay? Boobie Gibson. LeBron James made Boobie Gibson, bro.
He did.
And they torched us.
Yeah.
And they ended us. I would never like LeBron James.
I
And I would
understand.
still say he's the #1 talented basketball player I've ever
Yeah.
seen in my life. And thank you, Cade, for being born, because you're leading me to believe that maybe one day that narrative can change just a little bit.
Cade about 12 years too late, though. We could have used you in 2009. Like, what the fuck, bro? Yeah, I feel you. LeBron, my man.
Cade, the new Rodney Stuckey?
Yeah, no, don't bring me back to them days. But imagine being a LeBron fan since he came into the league and having him destroy your favorite franchise. Like, it sucks,
It
bro.
was tough.
He ended us,
especially
dog.
after the gut punch of losing against San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
He ended bro. He literally ruined the Pistons for the next decade and plus.
That's fair, but maybe Weezy can be a bit of a trailblazer, and maybe we can all learn to like LeBron and Kobe and just kind of recognize game. Maybe, you know what? I might try to turn over a new leaf. It just kind of seems like something that is not allowed to happen because, you know, there is nothing